he's gonna defeat you, but I don't believe he can land those punches. And he lands them on the bigger, slower guys who are sitting right in front of him. Everyone's like, did you see Francis Ngannou, what he did to Francis Ngannou? It's like the guy's feet stuck in mud. He's just sitting there, didn't do anything, and just got fucking nailed with a big shot. So yeah, if I get hit with that shot, I'm screwed, but I don't believe he's going to hit me with those shots.
Joseph Parker has stepped forward with some brutally honest advice for Jake Paul ahead of his upcoming clash with Anthony Joshua, and his words paint a stark picture of what the YouTube star is walking into.
That's crazy that you can say Jake Paul is actually fighting Anthony Joshua. That's crazy.
Parker knows exactly what it feels like to stand across from Joshua in a professional ring, having gone the full 12 rounds with him when he lost his WBO heavyweight title. That experience gives his perspective serious weight, and when he was asked about the fight, he didn't sugarcoat anything. Parker believes Joshua simply has too much for Paul to handle, describing the former unified champion as a natural heavyweight who has accomplished everything possible in the sport and possesses the kind of power that has put away legitimate world-level fighters. When pressed about what Paul should actually do to survive the scheduled 8 rounds, Parker suggested a defensive approach focused on picking brief moments to strike back if any opportunities even present themselves. However, Parker also acknowledged that Paul backs himself in every situation, leaving a tiny sliver of doubt about what might unfold.
You would have to say that Joshua is too much. He's a natural heavyweight. He's been a unified champion of the world. He's done everything in boxing. You would have to say that he's going to come in there and knock him out.
If you're Jake Paul, knowing the skill sets he's got, how do you survive 8 rounds against Anthony Joshua? What do you do?
8-round fight?
Yeah.
8-round fight.
10 rounds gloves.
What do? You're defensive, and you pick your moments if you can, if there are moments. Like, he backs himself, Jake Paul, so you never know. But at the end of the day, I think everyone that's involved in boxing and knows boxing, Joshua's too much for him, way too much.
The fight is scheduled to stream live on Netflix on December 19th, and most observers expect Joshua to have a straightforward evening at the office. The physical mismatch alone raises eyebrows, with Joshua standing over 6 feet 6 inches tall and expected to weigh in at around 245 pounds, which represents the maximum weight he can carry on fight night. Paul will be moving up from cruiserweight, where he has compiled a record of just 13 professional fights against opponents who were either past their prime, newcomers from mixed martial arts, or simply not elite-level boxers. His only loss came against Tommy Fury, and now he faces someone who has shared the ring with and knocked out fighters like Dillian White, Vladimir Klitschko, Kubrat Pulev, and Francis Ngannou. The danger Paul faces seems obvious to nearly everyone watching.
What do you think about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua?
That I'm interested in. Size-wise, age-wise, 2 personalities, 2 people that are going to sell the fight, 2 people that are actually likable.
Do you think Jake's likable?
I think a lot of people like Jake. Maybe not a lot of black people.
And if he's, knocked a person, bro, I feel like his stock goes down even more.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I swear to you, bro.
David Hay offered a perspective that caught many by surprise. Rather than simply dismissing Paul's chances entirely, Hay explained why he would personally bet on some kind of unexpected outcome. He pointed out that betting on Joshua as the heavy favorite offers almost no value for anyone looking to place a wager. So, from a purely gambling standpoint, betting on Paul to win, or for some unusual result like a no contest, draw, or technical draw makes sense because the odds would be around 10-1. Hay clarified that he wouldn't suggest anyone risk their life savings on such an outcome, but a small bet could return something meaningful if chaos somehow erupts. He acknowledged that if Paul somehow manages to pull off a win or even force a draw, it would represent the biggest upset not just in boxing but across all sports, given the enormous gap in experience and proven world-level accomplishments between the 2 fighters.
Okay, if I'm a betting man, if I'm betting with high bet and I want to go and put a bet on, it's not really worth betting on Anthony Joshua because he's such a heavy favorite. You know, I'd bet for Jake Paul to win, for a no contest, a draw, technical draw. Or something crazy to happen. I'd bet Jake Paul some fight either finds a way to win or get a draw, technical draw, or something, because you'll get 10-1, you get 10-1 odds that way round. You put 100 quid on, that, you get 1,000. You put 100 quid on a AJ, you get 10 quid back. It doesn't seem like it's worth betting.
So it's worth betting on Jake Paul then.
I'd say yeah. For the don't put your life savings on it, but if you're gonna have a little flutter and you want to get something back, you'll get massive odds. Obviously, he's such an underdog, such a massive underdog that it's like, okay, you might as well put a little bit on there just to make it interesting. So if I was gonna bet on this fight, I'd bet on Jake Paul in some way, shape, or form to get the massive surprise upset victory. It will be the biggest sporting upset, I think, if this happens. Not just boxing, in any sport. The fact you'd get someone with such a lack of experience at the world level challenging someone who is world level and has proven it and has been one that has been up there with the world belts, unified championships, Olympic gold medal, world championship silver medalist as an amateur. It's crazy to think, but the fight's taking place, and I'm gonna go with Jake Paul by something crazy is going to happen.
Not everyone believes the fight will unfold as a legitimate competitive contest. Deontay Wilder, a two-time world heavyweight champion and longtime rival of Joshua, has made a sensational claim about the entire event. Wilder has repeatedly questioned the authenticity of the matchup, suggesting that despite official statements calling it a sanctioned professional bout, he believes the fight is actually scripted and designed purely for entertainment purposes. Wilder asked what actually makes a fight real, implying that simply labeling something as professional doesn't automatically mean both fighters are genuinely trying to knock each other out.
We're a week away from Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. What have we got here?
As I look at it, for the fans, it put boxing still on the map because it keeps boxing relevant. Having exhibition fights like this, different celebrities and different things like that. I look at it as a fun thing for fans and stuff like that. I don't really take it seriously, because we in the business of boxing. That right there is just exhibition stuff. But I'm hearing they say it's a real fight. But yeah, it's a real fight because both guys are getting in a fight. I'm still the one that be thinking certain things are scripted as well too. So, but we'll see. I always say may the best man win, and main thing about it, may those guys go in there and have a hell of a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying?
Francis Ngannou, who himself faced Joshua in March of 2024 and was stopped in the second round, offered his thoughts on the matchup with surprising enthusiasm. Ngannou admitted feeling genuinely surprised when the fight was first announced, but he also expressed real excitement about seeing it happen. He acknowledged that Joshua must have his reasons for accepting the fight, and despite the controversy surrounding the matchup, Ngannou said he's looking forward to watching it unfold.
What do you think happens?
Well, fight. They're gonna step in the octagon. In the ring.
The ring, yes.
That's what's gonna happen.
No, I know.
Fight.
But who do you think wins? What do you think actually happens in the fight?
I think AJ win. Do you think otherwise?
Well, do you think, I think there's a lot of people who think he's going to knock him out in the first round.
Yeah, I would say so. But why exactly Jake Paul took that fight? That's what I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
What is his strategy?
Do you think it's dangerous? Do you think it's foolish for his health to take a fight? You've been in there with AJ. You know how good he is. Do you think it's foolish for him to take this fight?
Not foolish, but again, I don't know I don't understand. He's the only one that can know the reason, and I'm sure they thought that through, right? He didn't just wake up out of the blue and decide to pick AJ or me. Or whatever.
Ryan Garcia approached the situation with unfiltered honesty, stating his belief that Paul hasn't just picked a tough opponent, but rather the worst possible opponent he could have chosen. Garcia sees the gap between the two fighters as enormous rather than simply large, encompassing skill, experience, and physical attributes. In Garcia's mind, Paul might enter the ring feeling confident only to immediately realize just how different an elite heavyweight truly is once the bell rings. Garcia doesn't expect Paul to win even a single round and believes that if Paul manages to show any competitiveness at all, even for brief stretches, that alone would be something worth acknowledging.
If he could win 1 or 2 rounds, to me that's a W, you know what I mean? So this fight is probably the worst fight that Jake Paul could have taken. Out of all the fights he probably had a choice, myself, who else did they say? I forgot. The other guy, you know what I mean? That's worse. This is a big dude, heavyweight. Like, how you go from 135 to 225? Like you know, it's gonna be difficult. But
why do you think he takes it, Ryan?
He's just addicted to doing huge fights. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he has so many options. He's always looking for the guy that can make the most noise. You know, all his picks that he's fought in the pros has been guys that have some name, whether they're UFC fighters, NBA players. You know, you want Gervonta Davis. He's small, so I know I could beat him. He's probably thinking Anthony Joshua. He gets, you know, maybe his chin is suspect. Maybe he's not even thinking about me. So I'm gonna come in and somehow hit him with my right hand because he believes that his right hand is as strong as Wilder. You know, the way he talks, like my right hand is like this. So I think he's seen Dubai. I can't say his name. Dubois.
Yeah. That's what he's thinking.
Drop his with the right hand. Oh, I could do that. Like, that's my shot. You know what I mean?
What about respect, though? I think Jake Paul's at a point where he wants respect. Because I do think he's better than what people think he is. Right? Now the stage is set. If he goes out there and battles with Anthony Joshua, we got to give Jake Paul 100%. Way more respect than we do now.
You know what
that's
Muhammad,
the victory. Just taking the fight. If he actually steps into the ring with Anthony Joshua, that's a victory.
That's big.
Frank Warren shifted the conversation by highlighting something many observers had overlooked. While most people focused exclusively on the risks Paul faces, Warren pointed out that Joshua also carries significant pressure and potential downside. If Joshua makes any mistakes or fails to dominate convincingly, the damage to his reputation could be substantial. Joshua is expected to win without any real drama, and anything short of that would invite harsh criticism from fans and media alike. Warren also gave Paul credit for simply accepting such an enormous challenge, arguing that even if Paul lacks the experience of elite boxers, the courage required to step forward and request this fight deserves recognition.
Jesus, I mean, talk about going from one extreme to the other. He's really up there now, and he's fighting, as I say, a two-time world champion, natural weight, heavyweight. He's gonna have his hands full. He's gonna be a big underdog, a big underdog. But you know what? People watch it because they think it's a car crash.
So we're talking about, a top heavyweight, one of the best heavyweights in recent times in Anthony Joshua, a dangerous man going in against still a novice cruiserweight. Should that even be sanctioned? Is it safe?
It's going to be sanctioned, isn't it? Now,
should it be?
Should it be? Well, if they're both fitting well, and he's,
if his name wasn't Jake Paul, would that be? Is it dangerous? This is dangerous. This fight, right?
It's a dangerous fight. Of course, it's all. It's a dangerous fight. But I'm not here to be there selling their show. I've got no interest in the fighters from that perspective. I just think that he is a licensed boxer. He trains. He knows what he's getting involved with. He's not an idiot. And he knows what he's going to be up against, but he must believe in himself to do it.
Sean O'Malley, who counts himself among Paul's close friends, reacted with genuine concern and fear about the matchup. O'Malley has witnessed firsthand how unpredictable combat sports can be and has seen fighters suffer knockouts that permanently change their lives, affecting their movement, speech, and cognitive function. That reality makes him uncomfortable about Paul standing in front of someone carrying Joshua's power. O'Malley respects Paul's ambition but cannot ignore the danger involved. In his view, if Paul manages to last all 8 rounds without suffering severe damage, that itself would feel like a victory regardless of what the scorecards say.
I'm done. AJ versus Jake Paul. Do you see the size difference between Anthony? Do you see how fucking
He's
huge
a monster,
that guy
bro.
is?
Yeah.
6'6", 265.
That's huge, dude.
So they're making him come down to 240 or 245.
That gives me so much respect for Paul though, because I was always just like, he's up fighting like all these old people, or Tyson. I mean, Tyson's still beast, but this dude's
old hell.
I know, but this guy,
he's not had a single matchup even close to this.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this fight as a friend of Jake is like, I'm scared. Yeah. Like, dude, these are getting knocked out by someone like that changes lives. It doesn't change just your career path. It doesn't go, maybe I don't box. It can change lives. It can change the way you think. Getting knocked out, bad concussions are scary. Your brain, you have one fucking brain. And if he's willing to go out there and fight, and that is absolutely fucking insane.
John Fury shared some of that concern, but framed it differently. Fury believes Joshua carries a responsibility in this fight not just to win, but to fight aggressively enough to demonstrate that the event is authentic. If Joshua doesn't come forward with genuine intent and purpose, Fury feels people will begin questioning the legitimacy of the entire matchup. To Fury, the fight represents pure entertainment rather than a clash between evenly matched competitors, and anything less than a decisive, aggressive performance from Joshua would raise serious questions.
You know, I wish Anthony all the best of luck. But Anthony, listen to me. Don't take a dive with this Jake Paul, mate. Do not do that, not for $1 billion, my pal. Don't do it. Don't do as the others have done. Do not take dives. If he fights you, knock him dead as a nit, and good luck with it.
Tyson says he's going to bet £1 million on Jake Paul knocking out Joshua.
This is what I'm saying. How's that work?
He can't, can he?
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. So if it goes any other way, you know.
You give me a headline there, by the way.
If it goes any other way, you know it's fucking fixed, don't you? Enough said. Enough said.
David Adeli offered a more measured perspective based on direct personal experience. Having sparred with Joshua and observed Paul training up close, Adeli possesses a unique vantage point on both fighters. He didn't try to manufacture drama or exaggerate anything, but instead gave Paul credit for what he witnessed firsthand. Adeli noted that Paul doesn't treat boxing as a casual side project, but rather trains full-time, invests heavily in physical conditioning, follows professional-level nutrition protocols, and surrounds himself with top-tier coaches. People continue calling him a YouTuber, but Adeli sees someone who genuinely lives the lifestyle of a professional athlete every single day. Still, Adeli also recognizes that Paul chose this specific fight for particular reasons, and the world will soon discover what made him confident enough to call out someone like Joshua despite the overwhelming odds stacked against him.
Lawrence was sparring Jake Paul. Were you there as well? Or?
No, man, I'm in Dubai right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know I can't remember if you were part of his camp at one point or...
I was in the gym with them.
You didn't spar him, right?
No.
So what do you think? You've obviously sparred Joshua. What's going to happen?
Good fight. You know, I'm not the worst person. I always give political answers, don't I? I just sit back. But it's a good fight. I think. And look, Jake Paul knows why he asked for AJ. So we'll see what happens December 19th, right?
What was it like when you train with him? Did he surprise you?
Who, Jake? He's a learner. He wants to listen. He asks questions. He does dig deep. Whatever's asked of him, he tries to provide. You know, look, everyone calls him a YouTuber, but this is a man with a lot of money. So he's obviously paid for the best of everything. So he's one of the best trainers, nutritionists, chefs, S&C coaches. He's studying the sport. You know, he's a full-time athlete now.
Dave Allen jumped into the conversation with his trademark bluntness. Allen believes Paul has put genuine work into boxing and thinks Paul might eventually win a smaller regional title at some point in his career. However, Allen doesn't connect that potential to this specific matchup. To Allen, this fight exists in a completely different realm. Paul isn't a true heavyweight, and Joshua isn't someone to use as an experiment. Allen worries that one clean punch could end the fight instantly and potentially cause serious harm, making the entire event feel more dangerous than casual fans might realize.
I reckon this kid Jake Paul could win an area title, definitely. I really think he could. He trains hard. I respect all of that. I respect him for what he's doing. Brilliant. He's having a go. Amazing. But he's now fighting arguably a top heavyweight of the last 10, 15 years. One, it's dangerous. We're talking like it's a real fight. The whole thing I've been doing right now is based on it's a real fight. They're both going to try and fight on each other. It's dangerous. He's not a heavyweight. He's a cruiserweight. If that. Turned pro at 13-2. And he wasn't a kid. He was 23 years of age. He wasn't a kid. He's not grown into heavyweight. He boxed Julio Cesar 5 months ago at 14-3. Might cut a bit of weight. Might come down from 15 stone, but it's dangerous, really. It's dangerous. Very dangerous, because if Anthony Joshua hits him on the chin, he will put him to sleep. He will hurt him, and he could really hurt him, because Mike Tyson in his late 50s, all his MMA fighters, Chavez shot to bits. When Anthony Joshua hits him, he'll have the shock of his fucking life. He's not naturally big enough, for one. Two, he isn't good enough.
Joe Rogan echoed that sense of disbelief when discussing the matchup. Rogan has followed Paul's entire journey from influencer to main event attraction, but even he struggles to comprehend Paul stepping into a ring with Joshua under full professional rules. Rogan pointed out that Paul just shared the ring with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and that fight looked nothing like a genuine heavyweight war. Jumping from a cautious exhibition-style bout with an aging legend to facing a prime, powerful heavyweight like Joshua seems surreal to Rogan. He completely dismissed any suggestions of fight fixing, insisting that Joshua would never risk his legacy by throwing a fight. In Rogan's view, Joshua will be fighting with maximum intensity because he has far too much to lose by doing anything less.
It's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division. Maybe we should watch the Francis Ngannou fight so you could see. Let's watch that real quick, just so you can see what Anthony Joshua is capable if he's fighting someone that's not in his league. Okay, look, Usyk beat him, and he beat him twice, and Andy Ruiz caught him in the first fight and dropped him and stopped him. It was spectacular. Andy Ruiz is super fucking talented. Usyk is perhaps the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. Maybe one of the greatest of all time in any weight class. Usyk. And Usyk beat him, and he beat him twice. There's not a chance that Anthony Joshua is not going to just lose the weight beforehand. He's not going to come in drained. What he's going to do is just do extra cardio, and that's just going to make him more dangerous. He's going to be terrifying, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry that Jake Paul wants to fight him. Very upset that this YouTuber who's fought Tommy Fury, who's a legit boxer, and a couple other guys that were legit boxers. That's it. Like everyone else he's fought Ben Askren, who's really a wrestler. He fought Tyron Woodley, who was an elite MMA fighter, but not an elite boxer. He fought Nate Robinson, who was a basketball player. At least he's fought these guys. He fought Anderson Silva, and he dropped Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva was a really good striker, but also in his 40s. Different time. It's not the same guy he used to be. This is a 34-year-old Anthony Joshua. This is a terrifying human being.
Teddy Atlas added thoughtful analysis to the discussion by acknowledging Joshua as the clear favorite while pointing out that Joshua hasn't looked the same since his loss to Daniel Dubois. Joshua's extended periods of inactivity and lingering questions about his mindset have created an atmosphere of uncertainty surrounding him. Atlas believes Paul could potentially use his youth, mobility, and discipline to survive certain stretches of the fight. He didn't completely rule out the possibility of Paul lasting all 8 rounds, noting that Paul has consistently made smart career decisions up to this point, which prevents Atlas from dismissing him entirely.
Former heavyweight champ is supposed to go and win by knockout. I understand all that, what people are thinking. But I tell you one thing. With all that, Joshua has been inactive. Joshua was destroyed in his last fight. I know it was against a fighter, a top fighter, not against a guy that's been fighting a couple years and has had very little background. I understand all. Teddy understands that. I just break it down, all of it. And with having said that, Joshua has been inactive. We don't know where he is mentally. We don't know where he is physically. He's been gone for over a year. We don't know. We know he's coming off a bad loss. We understand that in his last fight. And so we don't know where he's at. But we know Paul's young. We know that he's got legs. He's got a jab. He moves. Who says he can't get in there for 8 rounds and motorcycle around? And what is winning for him at this point? Going and knocking out Joshua, which would be unbelievable and unlikely, or doing something no one expects, taking on this challenge. He's already got everyone's attention. Taking on this challenge, and then going in there and going the distance. Maybe, you know, in a way that no one thought he could.
The collective commentary from this diverse group of fighters, promoters, and analysts paints a picture of a fight that generates both fascination and genuine concern. The common thread running through most perspectives is acknowledgement of the enormous physical and experiential gap between Joshua and Paul, combined with recognition that Paul has approached his boxing career with unexpected seriousness and dedication. Whether that dedication proves sufficient to survive against someone of Joshua's caliber remains the central question everyone wants answered when the bell rings in Miami.